what is going on? Here we are again, another tough loss, uh, and the toughest of losses. Not even losing because the way that the Giants lost, it's just you kind of were numb to it. It was kind of like a Daniel Jones era loss, and I'll get to that in a second. But the devastating injury to Cam Skattman, and you know, when he got injured, the entire stadium went silent. And when you have the other team's fans praying for you and being silent, you know you got something. He really made an impact um, on the NFL. And I'll say this, in typical Cam Skattebo fashion, right? Like he's got to run super hard, he's got to do everything hardcore. Well, he got injured hardcore too. I mean, that ankle looked like it looked like a cartoon, And of course, that's the typical Giants way, right? He couldn't just have like, oh, he got like a little pulled hamstring or sprained ankle. No, he had to get a detached ankle. So he's out, and depending upon how the rehab goes, he might not even be ready for the start of next year. And we'll have to see. Is he himself? And I can already start to see the excuses next year. Well, Malik Neighbors come back from a knee injury. He's not himself. Oh, Cam Skattebo's not going to be ready for the start of the season, right? And who knows if we're ever going to get a number 2 receiver other than Slayton, whether it be in the draft or free agency. So you can already start to see the excuses lining up for us not to have a great start to next year. But just a rough injury, Now we're down to one guy, right? There were a few guys we wanted to watch this year, right? It was Jackson Dart, it was Cam Skattebo, it was Abdul Carter. Well, Cam Skattebo's down now. Oh, and Malik Neighbors, but Malik Neighbors has been out. Cam Skattebo's out, and Abdul Carter. While I understand he's doing some things that don't show up on the stat sheet, and he's being held a lot, and getting frustrated by it, as you could see in the game, but he hasn't done too much. So now the only 2 players to watch are really Dart and Burns, and we better be careful because Dart is next on the chopping block to get injured. Again, with the design quarterback runs, after you saw your big-time energy running back get injured, now you're trying to get your quarterback injured. Um, so it's not good. And, another loss, and Dart just looked devastated. Well, he said he was devastated, and I know that's not just all the loss. It's losing, his boy Cam Skattebo. But these guys come in. This is, I think, this is not talked about enough with first round pick quarterbacks or even first overall quarterbacks like Cam Ward. But a lot of these guys, they're used to winning, whether it be at the high school level, the college level, and they're used to not only winning but being the guy. Like, because in college, if you were the best guy on the field, you can take over a game and just win it. But in the NFL, you can't really do that. So these guys get drafted, and where are you getting drafted? To the worst teams in the NFL. So now you go from pretty much winning everywhere you went and being the guy that could be the difference maker and win those games to now going on to a bad team where you're going to be doing a lot of losing, and that can take a toll mentally on you. And you've heard it from Barkley and from Jones on the Giants that the losing was almost breaking their spirit to play football. And I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with Dart. Now, I don't think it'll happen in 1 year, because even though I'm sure the Giants are going to be doing a lot more losing now, especially without Cam Skattebo, um, I think Dart understands, hey, I'm still a rookie. I'm part of the problem, and I need to get better, and there are things I need to learn. Now, as you go into year 2 and year 3, if these things are still happening, a lot of losing now, you're going to start to see a spirit break. It's like, all right, well, I'm doing everything I can, and I know the offense, and I'm making all these plays, and nobody else is helping me. The coaches aren't helping me. The players aren't helping me. And, that's where you can start to see him just become more indifferent. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that he can help, and if Skattebo returns next year, they can help galvanize the talent that you do have on this team. We may or may not get a new coaching staff. I'm going to tell you right now, just from my opinion, the lean is towards not getting rid of Shane and Dable. I think Shane is pretty safe no matter what. I don't think he's gone because of Mara's sickness. I don't think he's in the mood to do a GM search right now. If the coach were to go, the GM would find a new coach. So he'll have some say in it, but he doesn't have to work as hard with that. But I think the goal right now is to lean towards keeping Dable because he outright said it last year when Daniel Jones left. He's like, yeah, we did everything to mess up this kid. And he was alluding to all these different coaches and all these different offensive coordinators and all these different offensive schemes. And if they were to let Dable go, in Mara's mind, he goes, well, we're making the same mistake now with Dart, right? We put him with one coach. Now, in his second year, he's going to have a totally different coach. And if this coach, the new coach, turns out to be a dud, now he might be on his third coach. So in Mara's head, he's probably really wants to keep Dable unless they have a Ben McAdoo type meltdown where the team quits and it's just a circus, then you got to get rid of him, which I don't think will happen. The error in thinking, though, is that it wasn't that Jones had all these different coaches. It was more that Jones had bad coaches, right? Pat Shurmur, first time head coach, probably a good offensive coordinator because he had his best offensive year with Shurmur, but not a good head coach. And case in point, he left the Giants and hasn't been a head coach since. Same thing with Joe Judge, right? So the bigger issue is that you transition from Pat Shurmur to Joe Judge, who is another not great head coach, not great developer. And again, case in point, he leaves Giants not a head coach anywhere. He's in college now, right? And now you switch to Dable. So I think how you avoid this mistake, obviously, is getting the right head coach. And I think for the next coach hire, if they were to make a move from Dable, is a proven guy. Okay, you got Mike McCarthy, who's out there, and yeah, I understand Mike McCarthy comes with his issues, but he does know how to win in this league. And who knows, maybe, people say, oh, he had Aaron Rodgers, that's why he was able. Okay, well, maybe Dart could be his next Aaron Rodgers. But he at least can put up winning records and knows how to be a head coach. John Harbaugh, although I don't think the Ravens are going to get rid of him, but he might be on the market. The problem, though, too, is that if the coaching carousel, because if you want to get a established head coach, right? So when you hit the coach carousel at the end of the year, who's going to be available? It's going to be coaches who haven't been doing a good job. So are those really the coaches you want to bring in, right? So it's going to be tough. Now you could get a guy like there was some talk about Cliff Kingsbury because he had a couple of good seasons in Arizona with Kyler Murray. And as a head coach. So he does have prior head coach experience. He has one, and now he had to go back down to being a coordinator, but it's something, right? But now it's not a huge resume of being a head coach like a Mike McCarthy or like a John Harbaugh, like a Mike Tomlin if he ends up leaving Pittsburgh. So these are the issues, and we'll see. But I think Mara's leaning towards keeping Dable and Shane if possible. Because I think he's going to like what he sees with Dart and that offensive progression. But again, Dable is not a head coach, though. He's an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. That's what he is. He doesn't seem to really care about the rest of the team, and he wants to just delegate that to the coordinators. And you can't do that as a head coach. You need to coach the whole team. So, and he also makes, again, another stupid mistake in the game. You can't challenge the fumble. So what are we challenging? You're just throwing away a challenge and a timeout for no reason. So, but getting to the game, this was a classic Daniel Jones era game where Barkley comes out, 65-yard run. As soon as I saw that, I was pretty much over the game. I knew that this was going to probably happen because I said, after last week, I think the team was going to come out a little bit emotionally flat. And I think Dart was going to try to play too much hero ball, thinking, I got to make up for all this, and that's pretty much what happened. Now, they did come right back after that 65-yard touchdown and score a touchdown, tie the game 7-7. And then they caught a break because the Eagles missed a field goal. So they were right there in it. But then, of course, they go down 14-7, and then Cam Skattman, has his ankle basically ripped off. So at that point, all the air went out of the stadium. You knew it was a loss. And then from there, it just looked like classic Eagles Giants from the last 10 years, where it's like the Eagles basically just went down, did whatever they wanted, and the Giants, particularly in offense, were trying to really make a big play, and it was leading to more negative plays by getting sacks and didn't really turn the ball. He didn't turn the ball over, but it was just one of those games. So, and you can't even blame. I mean, you can blame the team a bit because it's like, especially on defense, they did make the nice push stop. That was a fumble, but somebody made the comment that it's like, well, if you're going to allow the play to continue so that Jalen Hurts can get that second effort for a touchdown or for a first down whenever they run the tush push, then you have to allow for the consequence of that, which is he could fumble. But it seems like they allow the play to keep going to see if he can get the first or the touchdown. But if a negative thing happens, they blow up dead and go, no, this is a dead play. So you can't have it both ways. So that was a mistake there. But, in the secondary, you had no Adebo, you had no Holland. Flott went down for a little bit because he gets punched by Okereke. I mean, so, at one point we have guys, some guy named Lane is playing safety. I mean, he made a good play, but I'm pretty sure they just went to the stands and they just went, has anybody ever played football before? Because there was just random guys out there. And, and this has also been the Giants' problem for a long time. It's like, on paper, their starters look pretty good. The problem has always been depth, and this goes back towards the end of Eli Manning's tenure, where it's like beyond like the first two receivers, we had no receivers. We basically had like one running back, and then after that, it was just backups. So we have no depth, and as soon as a guy goes down, now we have Deonte Banks coming in. We have random practice squad guys coming into play. And so it's no doubt they're not going to make a stop. Also, there could be a little bit of the team quitting on Bowen because they don't like his calls. That could be some of it. But I don't really know which way is better to lose, because in this game, I didn't really feel bad. I felt bad for Cam Skattman, and of course, like, why couldn't we just lose and not have him get injured? But as far as the losses, like, yeah, I saw this coming, and then, like, the Eagles were just doing whatever they wanted, so you're just kind of like, I'm over it, right? Like, I turned the game off with, like, 3 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go. I'm like, they're out of it. Where, like, the Broncos game, you're in it till the end, so you're like, whoa, this is a fun game. I mean, it wasn't fun, putting up 33 points in the fourth quarter. Maybe I should say the Eagles game. It's a fun game. The problem with fun games and being competitive, which is what you want to see ultimately, but the problem is if you lose those games, like the Cowboys game, it hurts because you're like, oh, the game was right there. Right? On the flip side, you play a game like yesterday and it's like, it doesn't hurt that much because you're like, they were just a better team. We weren't ready to play, or we had too many injuries. But at the same time, it's a boring game then, because it's like we really weren't in it at any point. So what am I really watching? That's why you don't feel bad that they lose, because you're just like, I'm not even really watching football right now. So I don't know which way is better. I guess for the point of entertainment, the first way is better because you get entertained for most of the game and you get that exciting energy, which is fun, and that's what you're looking for. Where watching a game like yesterday, you just numb. It's like, I don't really care what they do, right? So losing Cam is big, and you saw it on Dart's face, and it's going to be a tough one to recover from now without Neighbors, without Scatterboo, and then Theo Johnson might be next because that's the next best friend of Dart. And like I said, mark my words, Dart's going to get injured too. Especially now with no Scatterboo, no Neighbors. I mean, he's just going to go out there and try to play hero ball, run all over the place, and he's going to get a fucked up knee. He's going to get, head injury, whatever it is. So it's a tough loss. Giants are 2-6 now, and they got to go back to work, play the 49ers at home. Again, winnable game, but who knows? They have Ray McLeod now they could bring up. I think they have that guy Turbo Miller or whatever that they can put in to work with Tracy. And that's the thing too. You look at Cam Skattebo, you're like, he was statistically he's an average running back, and Tracy was really the starter. So, are we losing that much? But the thing you're losing, you can't put into stats. You can't put, it's just a feel. So it stinks, but this year then is just going to be about Dart getting more reps, taking more control of the team, and building up his confidence in playing. But I just hope that he doesn't get his spirit broken. And like I said, I don't think it will be after 1 year because it's his rookie year. He's still got a lot of things to learn about playing in the NFL, about taking care of his body, about not making rookie mistakes, because he understands too that he's part of the problem right now. Not a big part of the problem, but that interception last week helped the Broncos believe they can mount the comeback. His 3 turnovers in the Saints game. And this is, I'm not knocking him. I love Dart. I think he's definitely the future, and he's probably one of the best rookie quarterbacks that have been in the league over the last few years, right up there with Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud, which is what we've been looking for, right? We see those guys play, and we're like, why can't we get a guy like that? Well, I think we have a guy like that. But that being said, it doesn't mean you're not going to make rookie mistakes, especially this isn't the Commanders where there's was a ton of weapons. It was, but all the weapons got injured. So now that it's basically just Dart out there trying to carry the team, and this is the NFL. It's not college or high school where one guy can carry the whole team, even if it's a quarterback. It just can't happen. So, like I said, I don't think his spirit will get broken this year. He's just got to go back to work and try to win some games, and that winning cures everything. And and we'll see what happens. On to the 49ers, and hopefully we can have a better showing. But Dart's got to stay healthy because he's basically the last thing we're watching this season. If he gets injured, you might as well just make other plans on Sunday because there will be nothing left to watch as far as the Giants go. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm out.